Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video of renovating my doll's house. So this week we're going to be cozying up the upstairs bedroom and making some miniature curtains. So if you want to make curtains just like these with very little effort and a no-sew technique, just keep on watching. So the first thing you want to do is get yourself some fabric. I would recommend something thin because as you're going to be making them really small, you don't want bulky curtains. So something very thin, like just this kind of cotton, would do fine. I'm working in a 1/16 scale, but depending on the size of your windows, you just need to cut some fabric that is wide enough and the right length for your windows. Make sure you have enough spare so you don't skimp on the length. I'm using this kind of quilting strips, I think they're called jelly roll strips, so I had to glue them together to just create a bigger piece, but you won't have to do that if you've got regular fabric. So I just did that, and I'm not going to be sewing anything with this project, I'm just using hot glue for the whole thing. But if you want to go ahead and make some really neat seams, go ahead and hand sew or use a sewing machine. So once you have your fabric width, you want to make sure you have enough so that you can pleat it up, and you want to essentially just hem all the edges underneath. So yeah, just go around and hem all the edges so you've got nice neat flat edges. I also make sure to iron the fabric as well. So here you can see my fabric is a little bit long, so I'm just trimming it up. I didn't hem the bottom until I knew exactly what length to do. So this is my final square. You won't have a seam in yours if you use them, but you won't see it anyway because I'll be pleating it, so that's fine. So you could also line the backs as well if you worried about it looking a bit messy, but for me I'm not going to bother for this. So once I have my desired length and width of a curtain, this is going to be one panel curtain by the way, you just want to get yourself an iron, and we're going to just be making kind of like an accordion fold all the way through the fabric. Lengthways we're going to be pleating all of this fabric so it will create more structure and mimic the folds that naturally will happen with a curtain and create that more heavy feel with a curtain, because you won't get that if you just pleat it up. You kind of have to force the pleat in there with the iron. So just do that, and you can kind of do it, I'd say maybe, I don't know, 2 centimeters, a centimeter maybe each pleat, and you'll get this kind of fanned effect. But it really depends on what fabric you're using and what style you're after. Also make sure that your fabric is iron proof. You don't want to melt your fabric. So this is where I'm going to start attaching it, or want to attach it to the pole that I'm going to be making. Now I know I said this was no sew, but for some reason I kind of just feel hand sewing isn't really sewing. But you could also just glue this, really you could just glue it. And on these inner V's I'm going to be making a little stitch which will hold the pole. Now if you have a bigger scale curtain you could put eyelets into this, that would be a lot easier and more realistic to a real curtain as well. But I'm going to go for that more pencil pleat style. So as you can see here I have the one already done and I've just kind of looped it around. I will show you in a sec how exactly I do this. Hopefully it will make sense. So yeah. So anyway, this is my curtain pole, which is just a cocktail stick shortened to the width I need, and I cut up a little wooden dowel and just sort of sanded it to make it a little bit round for the stopper on the end. I also ended up chiseling a bigger dowel because I didn't have any other ones, so I had to do that. They're a little bit scrappy, but it's functional and it won't be seen too much anyways. So I get my pole and I make a little loop in the edge of the curtain and just secure it in place, just like a slip knot. And then I go into the next inner V, just a little bit down, and then pull that through and then go up slightly above. And then once I have this loop, I'm essentially just looping it around the pole. I really don't know if this is going to make much sense, but you just want kind of a stitch underneath, and then you go into the upper stitch, and then you can have the tighten the slack, and you can just create the pleated effect. I'm really sorry if this doesn't make any sense, but you will just end up doing this all on the inner V's or the inner folds. So eventually you will get this, and you can really tighten it up. If this doesn't make sense, hopefully you get the gist of it and will be able to come up with something yourself. It's pretty simple. And to create that kind of ruched effect or tightened effect for the curtain, I'm just putting in a little bit of embroidery thread and pulling it tight. Then I added the end cap on the curtain, and as you can see here, this is how they're looking, and I think it looks pretty good. If you end up getting the bottoms really flared out and you don't like that so much, give them another press with the iron, or just to hot glue them together a little bit. It really depends whether you want to have them more functional and be able to open them up or not. I also added a few little tie backs with some leather strips that I had lying around, and here are the pairs of curtains pretty much done. So to attach these into your doll's house, you can either just straight up glue them. I used little pegs just to hold them on, and with one of them I also glued them because it just wouldn't work. But yeah, this is how it turned out, and I'm pretty happy with them. I hope this video was useful for you. If you're making your own miniature curtains, let me know down below if you used this technique and if it worked out for you. I'd love to know. So yeah, that's it for now. The bedroom is looking a lot cozier, and I have a lot more things planned and some exciting videos coming, so stay tuned for that, and give this video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And as always, let me know down in the comments if you have any suggestions on what you would like to see me make in miniature, or what do you want to see in the bedroom. So bye for now.